Let's start with our devaluation list. When we're dealing with a breakup or being discarded or being ghosted, being blocked by someone, a significant other, it's unnatural for the brain. So we have to reprogram the mind to be able to cope with it properly. So our devaluation list helps us to reprogram the brain. So let's list on a piece of paper 8 reasons why the person no longer qualifies, or things that we don't like about the person. But I especially want the focus right now in this late stage to be why they technically don't qualify, why they don't meet our standards. We can look at the way that they ended the relationship. Maybe we felt like things were okay before that because we felt like we could deal with the way things were before that. There were imperfections, but it was nothing we felt we couldn't handle. But now, based on how they've behaved, we need to make a new, fresh assessment of them. And we need to remind ourselves not to think of how it used to be before they started misbehaving. We need to think of them as they are now. So let's go ahead and write down 8 reasons on a piece of paper right now, and this will get us regulated, why they don't qualify. Now when we assess them based on their current behavior, why don't they qualify? And why don't you go ahead and, in the chat, share some of your reasons here. Yida says, I just tested the method on my avoidant and it worked. Very good. Yeah. Did you use the devaluation list, or you have a different method you want to share with us? Go ahead and write down here in the chat, share with us some of the reasons why the person no longer qualifies. This helps us to get some ideas too, because some of the reasons your person doesn't qualify is some of the same reasons our person doesn't qualify too. So what did you come up with? He ghosted me, pulled away after saying he was interested in continuing a date. Be specific, Zena. Why does that show that he doesn't qualify? That's what I want you to say. Not what did he do. Why doesn't that make him qualify? Why is that a disqualification? I want you to analyze that, please. Circular arguments, never accountable. Good. Constant Darvel. He ghosted me, pulled away after saying he was interested in continuing a date. Why does that make him disqualified? Write that down. You're correct. That is something, but I want you to say why that disqualifies them. What does it show about him? Treats me with contempt. Very good. Not supportive. Very good. Breaking the trauma bonds here. The fact he can't handle my emotions, yeah, that's a disqualifier. You have to be able to, the person you're with's got to be able to handle that you have emotions. He's not ready for marriage, that's a disqualifier. It's one of the first questions we want to ask. He threatened to leave me every argument. Yeah, that's abuse. That's an abuse tactic. It's a control tactic. Definitely a disqualifier. Very good. Uses coercion. Yeah, that definitely a disqualifier. Yeah. Excellent work. Very perceptive of you to catch that. That's what he's doing. Excellent job, guys. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe all the rumination and the toxicity out. It's okay. They left. It's okay. It's okay. Breathe in and then breathe out. Our theme for today is day 11, law 11. Pause and meditate before you speak or act, i.e., the rule of 7 seconds. Pause and meditate before you think or act, the rule of 7 seconds. Do you know the rule of 7 seconds? That's that you pause for 5 to 7 seconds before speaking or acting. before you do any or say anything that you would regret, or just before you say anything at all. You should practice it first so you build the skill. Ideally, this would be a skill that you might have learned in your adolescence or as a young adult, but that's okay if you're learning it just now. That's okay. You were trying to survive then, and now you're having an opportunity to just pause before you speak and before you act. And this is an emotional regulation tool. You need to use it properly. This is not the same as freezing as a trauma response, where you don't know what to do, but you never get out of negative thinking. Like one person here sarcastically comments, well, I paused for 5 weeks and I still had to go off. Yeah, because you never got out of your negative thinking loop. That's not the benefit of pausing. So that's not really pausing. You're still staying in fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. The amygdala, the animal brain, the smallest part of our brain, responds within 1/12 of a second to danger, is designed that way, and it's a fantastic design. But we have to learn to get out of the animal brain and get into our actual full potential. And our full potential is using the conscious mind to think and to reason. So what we want to do is practice pausing, thinking, and reasoning. And that takes seconds, at least. It takes around 5 seconds for your cerebral cortex to actually boot up, which is the larger part of the brain. It's the canopy of the brain. And that's where all the really deep processing and all the wise mind stuff is happening there in the cerebral cortex. So it's your job to give yourself a chance to allow your wise mind to come online, because your initial reaction is going to be your worst reaction. Your initial reaction is going to be your worst reaction. This flies in the face of people's advice that is wrong, where they say, just do what you feel, just go with your gut, just follow your intuition. Don't just do any of those things unless you are in a life or death survival situation. If someone is coming at you with a knife, that's the time to do what you feel, go with your gut, and follow your intuition, because those things are there to protect you in that moment. That's you firing in the amygdala. It's 1/12 of a second. It will activate fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and you'll be able to survive your situation. But in day-to-day life, we need something. Oops. My apologies. In day-to-day life, we need something more sophisticated to be able to reason on the situations that we're encountering. And that's where we need the rule of 7 seconds. Give yourself 5 to 7 seconds to pause before you before you speak or before you act. Let's listen to how that sounds. Hey, Mom, can I go over to my friend's house? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 6 seconds. It's between 5 and 7 seconds. Then you speak. Sure, but whose house are you going to? Make sure you bring your phone and make sure there's going to be an adult there. Done. Your response is always going to be superior when you've given yourself time to think. When you react emotionally, you give inferior responses. No, you can't go. Yeah, get out of here. You understand? Your best response is always when you give yourself the time to think. What also happens is the energy shifts, so that a lot of times people realize they don't need to put the burden on you. They can answer their own question, or they can take the pressure off of you and figure it out themselves. Babe, what should we make for dinner? 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't want to cook, that's fine. I'll order. Good. What happens? The energy gets shifted back onto them because we take the time to pause and to meditate. If you have an opportunity to practice pausing and meditating, tap the screen for us. In fact, all of us need to tap the screen just a little bit here. and bring our likes up to 9,000. We got about 8,000 likes right now. We definitely want to get 9,000 likes on the screen. That pausing and that meditating, that allows us to react in our best self. People say, I can't control my emotions. I can't control the way I react. But remember, if you want a man to be able to control his violent reactions, then likewise you have to be able to control your emotionally violent or your verbally violent reactions. If you believe that it would be an excuse for him to say, I couldn't control it, I had to hit my wife when she made me feel upset, mad, or disrespected, then likewise, you have to be able to say, yes, I can control my words, I can control my actions when someone upsets me or when someone triggers me. How? Rule of 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cerebral cortex boots up. Now we're in the smart mind. If we use STOP, then that will allow us to know what we're supposed to be doing during this pause. So we can run through STOP, it spells stop. What does the acronym stand for? Do we have some superstar students in the room here? Thanks for tapping the screen, guys. You got us up to 10,000 already. That's fantastic. Thank you. What does STOP stand for? Okay, she's got ST. That's not going to do the trick when you're in a situation and you need to. Actually, it'll take you. She's got the whole thing. There you go. She's got the whole thing. Very good. We got a star student in our midst. STOP: stillness, thoughtfulness, observance, patience. Stillness, thoughtfulness, observance, patience. Can you memorize that, guys? Type a 1 in the chat if you think you're capable of memorizing that. Type a 1 in the chat if you think you're capable of memorizing. Stillness, thoughtfulness, observance, patience. When you're in a situation, you're talking to your husband, you're talking to your wife, you're talking to your child, you're talking to your boss. Did you even know you were supposed to be pausing before you respond? Sometimes that's just something that we just never knew. No one ever taught us. We never figured it out. We never realized that powerful people, respectable people were doing this. They're pausing. You ever notice somebody that pauses before they respond? They give you a and they do one of those before they respond. They just take their time. Have you ever felt that, the energy shift? When you ask someone a question or you ask someone for something and they pause, they just let it be silent for a little while. How do you feel? How do you feel when people pause before they speak, before they act? You might notice that you feel a sense of appreciation build for the fact that they're really taking your question seriously. You ever notice that? You feel appreciation for the fact that you go, oh wow, I really made them think. Right? And go, wow, my question must have been really good. A lot of you have said you feel uncomfortable when someone pauses, right? And so that's where it's a really good power move, because without ever saying any words, you can shift the pressure right off of you back onto the person who was putting the pressure on you. And they feel uncomfortable now because you're taking a moment to just pause. So give yourself an opportunity to pause and think before speaking and acting. What do you think a little bit more meditation time could have done for us to keep ourselves safe in this relationship where we've been ghosted, we've been blocked? What do you think a little bit more thinking could have done for us? Let's brainstorm. How could we be better off if we had taken more time to think in this relationship? Anyone here know what limerence is? Maybe we could have made better decisions. Yeah. Well, what's limerence? What's limerence? Could think objectively, yeah. Give us clarity on the situation, yeah. More meditation definitely give us clarity. Limerence is infatuation, yes. When you love somebody you don't know. Nailed it, Lisa. Exactly. So when you love a person, or you're infatuated with a person, you have a crush on someone, but you don't actually know their flaws, that's not true love. That's limerence, right? That's not true love because we don't know them. So how can we say, oh, I truly love them? Like, you don't know them, right? Most of us made the mistake of falling in love with the person that we're now heartbroken by too soon. Most of us made the mistake of falling in love with the person that we are now heartbroken by too soon. If you fell in love with that person within the first 3 months, can you put a 1 in the chat? That lets us know you're one of those ones. You have a heart full of love and you fell too soon. I did it too. So my 1 is up as well. If you fell in love with the person within the first 3 months, throw your 1s down in the chat. Now here's what's ironic. One person said they did it many times. You can put a couple 1s in the chat then. You can put a 1 for every time you've done it. Every time you've fallen in love within the first 3 months. Now when you sit back and we pause and meditate on this together, while it's understandable, it's also kind of insane, isn't it? Because we all know you don't know a person in the first 3 months. We all know you don't even get to know a person until you're past the first 3 months, right? That's when the first big problems start, the first big arguments start. That's when the honeymoon phase has finally calmed down. That's when we start to see the person's true colors. That's when the mask slips. That's when they start being real. We all know that. So what in the world are we doing? The math isn't mathing. It doesn't make sense that we know in the first 3 months we don't really know the person. For sure. Especially in the first 3 months. But I'm going to definitely fall head over heels for them in the first 3 months. Doesn't make sense. That's not a plan. So now, just keeping that in mind, applying this broadly, this rule number 11, always pause and meditate before speaking or acting. Shouldn't we be in a very long meditation in that first 3 months that we meet someone? Shouldn't we be in a very long thinking phase, analyzing and just vetting the person for the first 2 to 3 months before we're allowing too much feelings to develop? Can you see how that would protect us greatly? Because since it takes about 3 months for some of those flaws to start to really show and some of those boundaries to start to get crossed and the mask to start to slip, wouldn't it be good if when that starts happening, you're still here like this controlled person? Wouldn't it be good if you're still in this place of the feelings are not controlling you? Wouldn't it be perfect if you're still calm, you're still yourself, you still feel like a separate person and you just feel like you're just evaluating them, and now you start to see the flaws? That's how we want to do it. We want to always pause and meditate before falling in love. And with a person, a human being, human beings are complex. We can't expect that we know them in the first few weeks or even in the first couple months. It's just unreasonable. We cannot expect that we will know a human being in the first couple months. Some of us are talking to these people long distance. You should honestly remind yourself constantly that you have no idea who this person is if you haven't met them in person. You can verify that they're somewhat real through the video and the phone calls, sure. That's getting even worse these days, right? But you don't know who they are until you actually get to spend that time with them, right? And you almost have to restart that clock once you do meet them in person. Like, okay, now I can start 3 months of getting to know them. Because there's a whole energy thing of just being in person with them that you're not going to figure out when you're doing it long distance. You can't tell if the person's avoidant when you're long distance. You can start to see signs, but you don't know because they don't have to spend time with you. It's only once you start saying like, hey, let's get together, let's spend time together, that you start realizing they don't do that. They don't want to. That you start seeing them check out. Like, how do you know that they're not the type to sit there and play with their cell phone while you're spending time together? You don't know if you've never met them in person. Right? So anytime, by the way, with a long distance relationship, you can meet long distance, but you gotta bridge the gap. Like, you gotta have a plan within 60 to 90 days when we're gonna actually get together, because you can't sit there and waste time just falling in love with a person on the internet. Don't ever do that. Say, okay, we can get to know each other, but there's got to be a plan. Like, you're moving here or I'm moving there, and we're doing this within 90 days so that we can actually date each other. Otherwise, this is not dating. We might as well just hold off until we're ready to meet, essentially. So keep that in mind. But pausing and meditating, giving yourself 3 months of just observation before you allow the feelings to come out. It's easier to hold the feelings in the bottle than it is to put them back in the bottle. You feel what I mean? It's hard to put them back in. In fact, impossible. It's just one of those things with the human mind. When we meet a person, we're not immediately out of control. That doesn't happen to anyone. People say love at first sight. Like, yeah, you can start to like a person immediately, sure. But you're not head over heels, like where you would be heartbroken for months and weeks if you lost contact with a person that you only met one time. You understand? It's not the first time. It takes time to develop that infatuation, that love, that attachment. And that's what you're doing with those days and weeks and months that you're spending with them. The problem is, that's not what that time should be used for. I repeat, the first 3 months should not be used for developing an attachment and an infatuation and chemistry and developing love, and that's not what the first 3 months should be used for. Those are actually back-end things. Those should be done on the later part of the relationship. You know when a really safe time to fall head over heels in love with a person is? After you're married to them. It's a good time to fall head over heels in love with a person. Everyone's doing it backwards. They go, we're going to fall in love, and then we're going to get married. That's not very safe. You want to analyze that a person is a good candidate. Then you guys want to get to know each other. Then you guys, once you've spent considerable time getting to know one another, then you lock it down with a commitment. Once you have the commitment, then you allow yourself to be 100% vulnerable. 100% vulnerability before the commitment is just unwise. It's just an unwise investment. It's like if they're like, you like this home? Do you like this house? And you're like, yeah, it's beautiful. And they're like, all right, that'll be $100,000. And you're like, okay, is there like a contract or something? And they're like, later. We'll get to the contract later. Just give me the $100,000. And then, I'll give you the deed, if you want a piece of paper that says you own the house, I guess I'll give that to you later. But don't worry about that right now. First, give me the $100,000. What do you think? Does that sound wise? So I give you everything, and then just down the line, at some unidentified date, then you're going to give me the piece of paper that says I own this place? Yeah. Why are you talking about the piece of paper so much? Why are you talking about the piece of paper so much? It's just a piece of paper. That doesn't mean anything. You love the house, right? You love this house. This house loves you, okay? So what else do you need? $100,000, please. You got to give it all up. Put the full amount right here in my hand. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? You would never do this. If you're going to be that tight with your money, be that tight with your heart. You don't give 100% vulnerability. Everything. Give your all. Your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole body, your whole soul to a relationship. And they don't even give you a receipt, a piece of paper. There's a huge campaign to discredit the value of marriage in our society. You can just scroll through the app and they'll tell you about how stupid or dumb or whatever marriage is. But the reality is, I don't even like buying anything with no kind of receipt. You're not going to give me a receipt for it to at least prove, like if I'll order food at a restaurant, right? And they'll be like, do you want the receipt? And at first I'm like, nah. And then I think, well, wait a second. I have to wait for my food. What if they just say I never ordered? You ever thought of that? So I'm like, yeah, give me that receipt, because I don't want to be standing here for 10 minutes waiting for this food, and then you just tell me I never ordered it. I want proof, right? I want proof. Especially looking how I look. When I'm walking out of a store with merchandise, I'm like, yeah, give me that receipt, right? If we want the actual piece of paper for small items that we're buying, that only costed us a few bucks, then isn't it reasonable that you would go ahead and get a piece of paper for that big investment where you gave your whole body, your whole heart, your whole mind, everything, and your time and money? They got access, they got the key to your house, and you don't have anything? Let's reverse it. Let's figure out how we're supposed to really do this. First 3 months, not a large emotional investment. Small emotional investment. You can enjoy, we giggled on the phone. I like his sense of humor. I'm seeing some of his good qualities, but you also should be clocking where the flaws are. Should be looking for them. Should be asking questions, searching. Where's the flaws? In what ways do you not meet my standards? That's what you spend the first 3 months working on. Getting to know the person logically. Building a map of what you see the person as. There's no point where you drop your boundaries and you're not willing to enforce the boundaries and walk away. Especially during the courtship phase before the marriage. At any time, you're going to bounce. And why would you bounce? If they violate your boundaries, they don't meet your standards, you might give them a chance to fix it, but if they don't get in line, you go. A lot easier to do that when we haven't become attached. First 3 months, keep it inside of you, cool. Keep it cool. Should you give all of yourself? Should you give your whole body? No. In fact, you should be keeping your options open, continuing to make connections with different individuals and vetting other individuals as well, because that's how uncommitted you need to be in that first couple months. We didn't do that. Let's admit we didn't do that. We thought we were going to lose them. We didn't want to lose them. We didn't want to look bad. We wanted to show that, hey, no, I'm a loyal person. We wanted to show it's all you. It's me and you. We wanted to show that. But your job is not to keep the person you found, but to find the person worth keeping in that first 3 months. Again, your job is not to keep the person you found, but to find the person that is worth keeping. So we're changing it around. Instead of fall in love first, get married, find out the flaws, and then feel like they're just your roommate and you have no feelings for them anymore, we're going to flip that around. We're going to do the no feelings up front, just analyzing, just getting to know. Then gradually we can start to give a little bit more as we get to know them. And that's how you handle your trust. Right? You don't have to say, I don't trust anyone, right? Or I got to trust them 100%. Just you give a little bit. It doesn't make sense to trust them 100% when you first met them, obviously. You give a little bit over time, right? But if they've already got your key and it's only been 2 months, you might have overdid it. Let's hold the key. And let's wait just a little bit. We just need to get to know some things. It's not that we think they're going to rob us. We just need to know them. We don't know them yet. We don't know what the flaws, like the things that are going to make us cry. We don't know that part yet. There's something. With every person, there's something that's going to hurt us so bad, it's going to bring tears to our eyes. We don't know what it is yet. We're not sure if we're going to be able to handle it. So just wait. And I'm not just talking about the key to your house. I'm talking about the key to your heart. I'm talking about allowing them intimate access to your body. Doesn't make sense to give all of that up front with no documentation. That makes no sense. 100,000. Go on. The house costs 200 grand. Just go ahead, drop me 200 grand. You want to go? You need to go to the ATM. Just give me the 200 grand, and don't worry. What are you talking about? When are you talking about the deed to the house and ownership and commitment? Don't worry about that. Down the line, that will happen if it's natural. You already know. If somebody's talking to you like that, you're never gonna get it. And that's the same thing that we're doing with these guys who we're trying to get commitment out of them. So we just keep giving, thinking. That would be like you paying 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand. Well, how much do I have to give before they give me the deeds of the house? The more you give, the less they're going to give you the deed to the house. Are you kidding me? This is a great deal for them. So then, after we've allowed that time period, usually of around 3 months, not to make that a rule, but just, enough time where we start to see the flaws. We can really clock the flaws. Like you can write them down. Like, yeah, he did this and he did that. Now I really see all of him. Now I'm seeing the trauma come out, the issues that he has, the things he struggles with. Now I can make a determination, right, as to, is this someone I can truly love? Before, I just had all the positives. Watch out for the fantasizing. That's an action that we need to pause and meditate before we get into. When you fantasize, you're building the neural pathways that's creating the limerence or the infatuation. First three months, don't do it. Don't do it. It might happen a little bit. Let's be honest. We're human, okay? But put a stop on it. Get up. Do a devaluation list. If you found yourself fantasizing about him last night, get up. Do a devaluation list. It's really important. Fantasizing is what helps to builds the neural pathways in the brain. It's a very powerful meditation. Fantasizing is an extremely powerful meditation. We're using the conscious mind, the power to manifest with our conscious mind, but we're not manifesting them to become what we need them to because we can't control them. You're manifesting your brain to become stuck with them, attached to them. So if you find yourself fantasizing, stop, devalue. That's where you point out something that disqualifies them potentially, or something you dislike about them. A devaluation list is where you write 8 things down that disqualify them. Okay? That's what helps to keep you in control. So the whole time, remember, it's easier to keep the feelings in the bottle because once it's out, you really can't get it back in. And that's the pain that we're all going through after the breakup. It's the pain of how much we let out of that bottle, of those feelings and those emotions and that investment that we put in. And knowing that now you can't get it back in the bottle very easily. And now they're gone. And you feel like you lost all that investment. That's the pain that we're going through. So let's hold into the bottle, give ourselves time to get to know the person. And then we should seek Once you're past that point of knowing what the flaws are, and you're like, hey, look, I'm in this with you. I think you're great. We should be seeking the commitment. We should be seeking the commitment. We need the commitment. We need the ring on the finger, right? This gives us a nice pause, a nice meditation, nice track to build up to, right? Is it logical that after we get engaged that we might feel a little more safe and therefore invest a little more vulnerability? It is. It is. Yeah, because you're engaged, because someone has now kind of given you that promise. They're showing we're moving forward. Is it logical that you would still reserve some for after the marriage? It is. Yeah, you should still reserve some. Shouldn't give everything before the marriage. Is it logical that after you've done the whole process of before God, man, community, everybody, and legally made it binding, and you did all that stuff, that you would give your all? Yes. Fulfill your end of the bargain. Now it's time for you to pay up. Just like when you sign that contract, you drop the money. And that's how you do it. That's how you be an honest person and show up for that relationship. But you also protect yourself this way. You also protect yourself. I talked about the like the 3 avoidance. There's actually been so many more that I didn't even remember. Because a lot of times, because I use vetting, people drop off fast in the talking stage. So I can be talking to someone for a few days or a few months. I'm not a few months, a few days or a couple of weeks or something, and then it'll be clear that they don't qualify or something will be off. But what was I going to say about these avoidance? Oh, I forget about them because it doesn't hurt. And it doesn't hurt because I didn't invest my whole emotions. It wasn't like, oh my God, I found someone, oh my God. No, it's like, okay, like we're talking and I'm asking questions. Are you someone who wants to get married? Do you have children? Do you want to have children? How do you feel about traveling? What are your religious beliefs? What are your political beliefs? What are your feelings about? And then you can go into the list of any types of things that are important to you. Maybe you need to know how they feel about birth control, abortion. How often should a couple be having sex within the marriage? You might have to talk about family relationships. How close are you to your family? Would your mother come first, or would your mother come second to me if we were married? There's a lot of things, a lot of questions you need to ask that are going to start giving you insight into the person. And to be honest, you can't even get all these questions in on the first conversation most times. You can maybe get 2 or 3 questions in on the first conversation, and you got to get that next conversation. So it's really too early to be out, hanging out with them, having drinks with them. If that was how you initially met, that's fine. But if you're online and you're texting these people, don't go out with them yet. Do not invest. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Vet. Ask questions. Eve says, sometimes they lie. What's the point, Eve? Are you trying to say that asking questions wouldn't be intelligent because sometimes people lie? Tell me what the point of saying that is. Are you trying to contradict what I'm advising? Feminista, let me translate your comment here. 3 months is too little. They mirror us, narcissists lie, 1 year minimum. Don't take the exact time frame as a rule. Keep it in mind as a principle. I use 3 months because that is the actual time when usually narcissist masks start to fall, but it's not always that simple. Just take the principle. The principle is, yeah, that would be silly within just 8 weeks that I would really be head over heels in love with this person and sleeping with the person and giving them a key to my stuff. You understand? It's the principle of it, but it's not about the exact time frame. No, it's to be aware that they can be fake people. Yeah. So how do we find out if someone's fake? How do we find out if someone's fake? Like, we should ask questions, but not be gullible. Yeah. The best way to find out if a person is fake is to make sure you're asking a lot of questions up front. Make sure you're vetting. And then you pay attention. What you're looking for is congruence. What you're looking for is congruence. That's how you spot the fake people. They become incongruent. Do you know what that means? Do you guys know what incongruence means? Early on in meeting someone, you're asking them questions, right? And they're telling you things about themselves. For instance, I like dogs. Let's say they tell you they like dogs, and they tell you that they're someone who doesn't have a temper. Let's say those are two examples of things you learn. If 1 or 2 months later, you start talking about going to the pet store and looking at animals, and they go, ugh, dogs are so gross. That is incongruence. Then you have to call it out. Say, hey, wait a second, you told me that you like dogs. Now you're saying dogs are gross. What's up with that? That's what you want to look for, is incongruence. That's when you spot the fake. I wouldn't have been able to spot it if I didn't ask questions. So the fact that people lie is not why you shouldn't ask questions. It's why you should. And then later they get a temper, and you go, they told me they didn't have a temper. Marking down the incongruence. I'm starting to see that I should take a step back, because maybe many things they told me are not true, because I'm starting to see incongruence where they're not the same. It's not parallel. Or, yes, capping. Yeah, exactly. So if you recognize that incongruence from where you were questioning, where you were vetting, to how they end up later, that gives you pause for everything, because you don't know what to believe, right? Because you asked questions, you gave them the benefit of the doubt, and now they're starting to show you that those things aren't real. Even that 1 or 2 things aren't real. So now that calls into question everything they said, so you know to pull back and say, hold on, right? So I asked her in the beginning, like, one of the first questions I ask is about marriage. Another thing, we have to be aligned spiritually, right? So if I start noticing down the line that we're misaligned spiritually, or that she's not interested in marriage, that's going to be a moment to pull back, because now there's an incongruence that's been spotted. And that's how we know. That's how we know. Very important, very important. So our law today, if you joined us a little bit late, is always pause and meditate before speaking or acting. We should use the rule of 7 seconds, but then we should also use the rule of spending lots of time meditating in our relationships instead of falling in love, which is really limerence, because we don't truly know the person. Lots of time pausing and thinking in our relationships. I suggested that first 3 months it would be inappropriate to develop deep feelings. So don't fantasize, analyze. Don't fantasize, analyze. Some of you had some questions. Now would be a good time to bring those questions back up. Elizabeth says, also don't allow your emotions to have you dismiss your gut feelings and warning signs. Yeah, don't let your emotions cause you to miss the warnings, the warning signs, the ways that they're incongruent, or people call things red flags, but potential flaws that you're spotting in a person. You don't want your feelings to. That's why you don't want the feelings to develop too quickly. Yeah, that's why you don't want the feelings to develop too quickly. I saw my ex car traffic yesterday. It ruined my whole mood. What can I do not to spiral? Was it actually his car, or was this the same car your ex had? was his car and it ruined your mood, what can you do not to spiral? First thing you do, like if you're driving, then you need to use breathing techniques. So just because you can't write, right? So you use breathing and self-soothing. Self-soothing is, it's okay, I'm okay, everything's fine, I'm okay, everything's good, I'm fine. And then once you're parked, you do your devaluation list. You have to recalibrate the mind to realize he's not that important. Your brain was freaking out because your brain thinks he's important, but also we're not communicating and like we're broken up and there's this bad blood and it's all this negative energy, right? So you recalibrate the mind through the devaluation list so the mind realizes, oh, he's not that big, it's not that big a deal, he's not important. So then in the future when you see him, it should be like, just like you saw anyone, because he's not that important, like you don't care. Maybe a ill, because you've devalued him properly and you're like, I just want to get away from that person. Any tips on how to get out of a trauma bond? Yes, do your devaluation list. Write 8 things on a piece of paper as to why they don't qualify or what you don't like about them. What's not good about the person. That breaks the trauma bond. That is literally what we're talking about. Sometimes I expect me from others, meaning I think people are showing up genuinely. Yeah, so change your expectation to no expectation. There's no point on expecting anything because we don't know what we're going to get. And many of us make this mistake of thinking, oh, I'm genuine, so someone else will be genuine. But obviously that's not always the case, and now we know. So allow yourself to have learned, and don't just keep making the same mistake. Everyone is not genuine, although we are genuine. Therefore, we must do what? Pause and meditate in the relationship. Allow months to pass by before investing fully. Analyze, not fantasize. Vet, ask questions. Demand commitment. Slow everything down until we get to know someone. What's your view on 6-year round relationship discard? I don't know what that is. 6-year round relationship discard? What is that? Doesn't make any sense to me. How do you hold back when you really like someone? Samantha, it's too late. You didn't hold back. That's like saying, how do you hold back when you already spilled it out of the bottle? Don't really like someone. That's what we're teaching. When you meet a person, you don't already have the really like feelings. When you first meet a person, you have a moment where it's still in the bottle. So you keep it in the bottle and you hold back. You don't fantasize. You analyze. You say, okay, yeah, I can see that he's beautiful. I can see that he has good qualities, but also he has bad qualities and I might not know them all right now. So I need to wait and then allow that time to pass. When you already like someone and they're not the right one for you or they've left you, that's a trauma bond. You're not going to hold back your emotion at that point. You're already invested. You've already wired your brain to see them that way. Now you have to unwire it. So now you need to do your devaluation list. It's only been 5 weeks and we want to do it, LOL. 5 weeks, you're in 1 month and 1 week. Good. So let's make sure he fits all your criteria, right? Criteria number 1. Does he want to wait until marriage? Does he have the high morality to say, yeah, I'll wait until marriage before we have sex? It's criteria number 1. So far, it sounds like he might be struggling on that criteria, which if he doesn't have the strong morality to be able to hold that into place, is he showing himself to be that ultimate leader for you? Ask yourself some other very serious questions. Line up your standards and ask some very serious questions. You need to still get to know him. After 5 weeks, unfortunately, you just don't know him totally. Could be a great person, but we don't know. How do you know? You got to give it time, and you got to do more vetting, more investigating. So in your case, I would say, let's stop fantasizing, let's start analyzing. If you need to lessen the amount of physical time spent together, that would be appropriate. If you need to make sure you have people with you, like a chaperone around, so that you're not in so much heat and lust that you're going to break your boundaries and standards within 5 to 6 weeks of just knowing this person. Then bring a friend, bring somebody mature with you. You have to protect yourself. Now's not the time to break and give $100,000 6 weeks into this relationship. You don't even know the person. If he's not opening the text, does that mean he's ignoring it? I would invite you to stop thinking so much about his actions. It's breaking one of the laws of healing, which is never be consumed with another person's thoughts, feelings, and actions. When you send a text, sometimes someone can read the text and then not respond, or they can receive the text but doesn't seem like they opened it. That should not be something you're analyzing. You've done your part. You've reached out, you've given your offer of communication. Now it's time to focus on your purpose and your self-care. You're worried too much about this one person. You can vet, but vet multiple people, not him. It's all about him. He is just one of many people. 99% chance he's not the one for you. That's just simple statistics. Most people that you talk to are not going to be the one. You're caught up on someone. You're wasting your time being caught up on worried about if he read a text. Why, if he's the perfect man for you, then why would he be hesitating to read your text? How would he miss a text? He would never miss a text. If he was head over heels the guy of your dreams and you're the woman of his dreams, then this would be a non-factor. Let it go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. How do I get a session with you? Go to my website, healingcourse.org. Link is in the bio. Click on book a one-on-one with Roman. Let's do it. Do you think I was wrong to cut someone off completely for disrespecting me by cursing? It's not about being right or wrong. You had your boundaries, you enforced them. We do need to learn relationship skills, not just enforcement of boundaries. Relationship skills means that we know how to assert ourselves as well, how to negotiate for what we need in a relationship, and how to set boundaries. So if you don't want someone to curse at you, that's an appropriate boundary that you may set. But you also need to know that you know how to properly assert your boundary before just cutting off a relationship. So did you assert the boundary? It's a question just for you. You don't have to tell us. But ask yourself, did I assert? Did I tell him ahead of time or her, hey, don't ever curse at me? To make sure they knew before cutting them off once they did it again, under the circumstance where now they knew because I taught them, I told them. That assertion of the boundary is a loving act in the relationship because it allows them an opportunity to change before they lose you. So in a situation where the cup is already split like that, can we fix it or let it go? Spilt? Yeah, if you already spilt, you have to reprogram the brain doing the devaluation list. Oh man, messed up from the jump. Don't look at it as messed up from the jump. Look at it as, okay, I'm a little heavily invested right now on the front end. Nuance, everyone. It's not, I'm in, I'm out, I'm right, I'm wrong. I'm a little bit heavily invested on the front end. You have to pull back. I gave you advice. Less time together. Chaperone. Analyzing, not fantasizing. We need a little more time. You got 5 weeks in. That's a good amount of time, but you have more questions you need to ask, and you have more time that needs to pass. Give it another couple months, right? Because you just got to know the person. You don't know if you're going to be able to handle everything about him or if he's actually showing you everything about him. So give it some time. And I'm wishing for the best. I'm hoping for the best. If you find after a couple more months it's still going great, right? You might take the next step in the relationship. But I don't think that's sex, in my opinion. I think the next step in the relationship is going steady, getting engaged, talking about marriage, making plans together, doing a little something together, a little something that shows a little commitment for each other, taking the next step towards becoming one. That's what I think you should move towards after a few months. So there should be solid plans of like, where are we going to be living? How are we going to move? What are we going to be doing? Like, you should start the planning process after the 3-month period, and you're seeing, do little commitments together and start seeing how that goes. Some of the stuff you say I agree with, but some of the stuff you say I don't. Yeah, you can respectfully let me know what you're having trouble understanding, and I will help you. I remember a guy cussed me out so bad for saying a cuss word when I was talking to him. Yeah, and while you probably appreciate that he asserted his boundary, he didn't show a skilled way of asserting his boundaries, because he's cursing you out for cursing at him. That's not a skilled way of asserting your boundaries, right? So that's what we want to develop, the skills of telling someone the truth, telling them what we need. How many years should a woman wait for an engagement? Years? Years? Hopefully that answers your question. Had to start doing devaluation lists for my family. I felt so relieved. Heck yeah. Do it for your mom. Do it for your dad. Anyone you're trauma bonded to. Anyone you're trauma bonded to. The devaluation list is really real. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. She responded by following my channel. Thank you for following. Thank you for everyone who follows my channel. I appreciate you. Yeah, years. See, already what's happening here when you're in a relationship for years and it hasn't already started moving towards marriage, there's no engagement in place, you're already showing that we didn't start out from the very beginning, making sure that was the vetting question. Are you someone who wants to get married? What is your time frame? That should have been the first thing discussed, like day 1 or 2. And then when you're in that relationship with that person, you both understand that that's what we're doing, that's what we're moving towards, and we have like a general idea, like a timeline already in mind. And that's what keeps you from being here kind of like asking like how long to wait. So a lot of times, a lot of ladies, this happens mostly with ladies who are looking for that marriage. You're going into the relationship with covert contract rather than outward contract, rather than saying clearly, here's what I need and here's when I want it. You're like, well, maybe if I give a little more, maybe if I give a little more, maybe if I wait a little more, maybe if I, and they've maybe put you in a position where you don't feel comfortable asking. Remember the $100,000 analogy? They got you where you're like, I don't want to ask for a deed to the house. And they're like, give me the whole $100,000 right here. Give me everything. And you're like, yeah, but what about the paperwork? And they're like, why you got to bring up paperwork right now? It should be natural. And they got all these excuses, right, for why you can't ask about paperwork. So that's what you want to be careful of. Don't fall into that trap. Make sure from the very beginning your needs are made known. If you're in a situation now where you've already been with someone for years, set the ultimatum. Let them know, hey, there's an end date. I've been given a lot, and this is what I need. You need the engagement, you need the ring, you need the marriage. If we're not either married or engaged by this time, then I gotta go. What if they're overanalyzing you, but in a strange and manipulating way? He's a doctor. I don't know what you mean by in a strange and manipulating way, or what him having a doctor has to do with it. You'd have to give me some insight on what you're talking about here. Like, is he giving you medical checkups? Like, what are we talking about here? Feminista says, I lose hope when I am told that my moral standards are impossible to meet in a man. Yeah, I don't know who told you that. You shouldn't. There's nothing another human should be able to tell you that makes you lose hope. Your faith has to depend on the evidence that you've gathered, and what would be the reason to not have faith that your moral standards are protecting you? If there's not a man available that meets the moral standards, then you're protected. Because why would you want a guy that doesn't meet your moral standards? So keep your moral standards high because you're protected by your moral standards. You don't want every guy. You don't want lots of guys to be able to meet the standard. You want that select one or two that could actually bypass and meet those standards. It should be rare. Did you happen to see my question about the 8 months thing? No. You could have used this opportunity to maybe ask me that question. Men know if they want to marry you within 4 months. Just ask right away. Ask within the first few times of meeting a person what their goals are and what their attitude is toward marriage. It's not about having a general cute Instagram saying like, men know within 4 months if they... Every guy's different. Ask if that's even what they want, because what you're really looking for is a man that wants to be married. It's not about whether they want to marry you. That's the fallacy. I think a lot of women may prescribe to this idea that I'm so special that when I meet the man, he's going to want to marry me. No. He has to be so special that he wants to get married before he ever met you. It's not when he meets you, you're just going to be so gorgy that he's going to want to marry you. That's not how it works. Men who don't want to get married, they will see you, they will see how gorgy you are, and they will look to just have sex with you. They don't want to get married. Men who want to be married will see you, and you could be in a pair of sweatpants, they still want to get married. Do you understand? It's not about, well, within 4 months he knows. No, he knows within 4 minutes, because that's either what he wants to do or that's not what he wants to do. I waited 5 years before I proposed to my wife. Hashim Trends Lucario. That's terrible, bro. Poor her. Poor her. That's not something to brag about. You should be ashamed of yourself. And that could have turned out really bad for her, and how terrible for you to come in here and make other women think that they should wait around that long. You know you're wrong. You know you're wrong to come in here and try to make other women think they should be waiting around for 5 years, hoping and praying that someone will finally get their life together, like you took 5 years to finally figure out what you wanted to do with yourself. That's nothing to brag about. Married 30 years, trying to break the trauma bond. You have such a calming presence. Thank you. Yes, I did tell him about the disrespect of cursing, and we both remained silent 3 weeks, no contact. And then you let him go? You said that you blocked him or something. You said you let him go. You cut him off because he cursed. So if you let him know about it and then you were silent for 3 weeks, when did you letting him go happen? It sounds like you're telling me two different stories now. Does it take time to know if you're the one to them? He seems to be a wait-and-see person. Yeah, it takes a little time, sure. But in the meantime, you got to be vetting and be open for other connections as well. Like, you don't have time to be waiting around just for one person. But yeah, it takes a little time. You got to get to know each other. If you're within the first 3 months, then that would make sense that you're still trying to figure it out. Yeah. But if you're past the first few months and and he's just trying to use that as, I don't know, then nah. There's good, intelligent, loyal men that exist. Yeah. Is there good, intelligent, loyal women that exist? Then there's good, intelligent, loyal men. There's nothing about having a penis and testicles that makes you a good or a bad person. Just like there's nothing about having a vulva that makes you a good or a bad person. It's not your gender that determines anything in terms of your moral character or your spirit. So what determines what kind of person you are? Right? It's not your genitalia. So yes, there's good men. Are all of these men out here going to be the right one for you? No. Are most of them probably not going to be right for you? Yeah. I would guess if you got some high standards, 90% of men, maybe more, are not the right one. So don't be surprised if you meet a guy and then he turns out to not be the right one, which is why you shouldn't invest emotionally. What are the laws of healing? Get the book. There's 12 laws, and I wouldn't have time to tell you them all right now. But get the book, The 12 Laws of Healing Journal. It's on my website. It's also on Amazon. So you think that where you go to meet people affects the quality of the person, like at nightclubs? I don't. I mean, there's obvious exceptions, like you're probably going to get slightly better people in your place of worship than you will get in a gang, a street gang. You're probably going to get, there's like some variation there. But generally speaking, no. It's not about where you go. It's about how you vet. It's about how you vet. Because truth be told, there'll probably be somebody off on the street who's a decent human, and there's probably people right there in your place of worship that are wolves in sheep's clothing, right? So it's your vetting process that's going to keep you safe. It doesn't matter whether you're meeting people on a dating app, or you're meeting them in a bookstore, or you're meeting them in a coffee shop, or you're meeting them wherever. What matters is your vetting process, making sure that they're lining up with your standards. They're lining up with you. They're aligning with you in everything you're actually looking for in a person. That's what matters. Nightclubs and bars. The problem with nightclubs and bars is not that definitely the person who's there is not going to be a good person. The problem is, if you don't like going to nightclubs and bars, then why would you meet a person there? Because chances are people who don't like going there are less likely to be there. Therefore, why would you be there? You understand? So you want to go where you like doing things, because the people who also like doing things are there, and then you actually get more compatible matches, right? So if you're all about your worship to God, then you go out in your volunteer work and you find other people who are doing that same thing. If you're all about tennis, then you go play tennis and you find people. If you're all about mountain climbing, then you go mountain climbing, you understand? And you move around and you travel around to different locations doing this thing. And that's where you meet people who are like-minded. So it's not about whether it's the bar is the problem. If you're a bar hopper, if that's what you really love to do, you might meet the perfect person in a bar. Sorry, it was about if you're dating someone for 8 months and they have been texting with someone else. What about it, honey? So you're dating for 8 months and then they start texting someone else, or they were texting someone else. I don't know what your question is. Are you going to ask me if that's something you should tolerate? If that's what you like, if you're into guys who have other women, if that's your thing, then it sounds like you found what you're looking for. But if that's not what you want, then you have to cut him off. Go with what the behavior is right now. How do you know if it's love bombing or codependence? Those are two separate things. Love bombing is where you find out that all the kindness up front was really just a facade. It's not something they can keep up. Codependence is where you have a fear of being alone and you think your whole identity is to be with another person or to be helping another person. What is an accurate time to wait before getting married? You seem offended by 5 years. Years? Years? Man. When you date a woman, you should already know that your purpose is to marry her. Otherwise, your whole process of dating her is on some other agenda, which you need to check on a moral level. Like, what's my real agenda here if I'm dating this girl, but I don't know that I'm ready to be married within a short amount of time? Like, what's my real agenda? It's actually cruel. It's a cruel thing to do. Because it's not honorable. Like, obviously you're just trying to get something else out of the situation, right? So check that first. Make sure that before you even approach a woman, you would be ready. If she turns out to be the one, you would be ready to go and get that ring and lock her down and hold her down for the rest of her life. Put her on your health insurance. Go out and get a home for the both of you guys. Provide for her fully. Take care of her in sickness and in health. Put your life on the line to protect her. Make sure that that's the way that you feel as a person before you even approach a woman. Otherwise, what are you practicing? That's what you're doing. You're practicing on her. And that doesn't sound very fair. You know what I mean? Bro, Jared left me undelivered. Yeah, don't worry about what he's doing. Get focused on your purpose. You said the woman should keep your options open if he isn't showing full commitment, texting others. You should keep your options open if he's not fully committed. That is correct. Yeah, if you don't have a ring on your finger, then why did you shut off your other options? Just ask yourself that simple question. If I'm understanding you, pardon me if I didn't. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. If you don't have a ring on the finger, then why did we shut off the other options? You should be either engaged or like super close to engagement before you're literally like, I speak to no other people. And that helps him to feel a little fire under him to get that ring on your finger as well. To realize that your options are going to stay open until he shows that he's serious about doing the real thing. I have a hard time speaking to more than one guy. I tend to focus. Everyone, yeah, we all do. Like, it's not easy, but you got to do what you got to do. You also have a hard time losing months and years to your life to one person who wasn't the right one. Focus on that. I'm dating someone that seems to have someone else. What should I do? Well, it's all about your standards. So you have to ask yourself, what are my standards? What do I actually want? So write a list of your standards, of what you want in the person, Vanessa. Are you looking for someone who has someone else? Or are you looking for someone who is a one-woman man? My dad said most men usually knew in about 1 to 2 years if he's serious. Your dad is correct. But they know right away if they're really trying to be married or not. They know before they talk to you. My spouse, I don't think fantasy can become reality. He has admitted to fantasizing about a female friend. I don't know what you're trying to say, Richland. Like, I get what you're saying, but I don't know what your question is for me or how I can help you. Let me know what your question is and how I can help you. Dates a guy, fell pregnant and married before I give birth. Again, Black Queen, I don't know what the question is here. I have to apologize. Oh man, are you religious? Very good, oh man. That would be a good vetting question to ask the girls that you're talking to find out which one is going to be the right one for you. That's a very good vetting question. That's something you need to know about the girls that you're talking to, not about me. Can you speak more on codependency? My ex stated that I was dependent on him. We were married 20 years. Well, yeah, if you're married, then you're going to be dependent on a person. That's obvious. The codependency is where you can't handle the thought of being alone or without the single, without the other person, or you make that your whole identity is being something for someone else. So why should I leave him if he's speaking to other people? You have to identify if he's violating your standards or not. Maybe he's not violating your standards. Maybe he's not violating your standards. Like, I don't know how long you guys have been talking, right? So if you guys have just been talking and then naturally you might be talking to people, he might be talking to people, then maybe that's not time to leave because both of you guys are talking to people. Also, you didn't state a time that you think is acceptable to propose. That was on purpose, yeah, because I want you to focus on already being ready before you start talking to a woman. If that's your mindset and that's how you're going into it, then generally speaking, it's not going to take years and years before you propose and get married. It's going to be a succinct situation. But it's not about there being a one rule for everyone that I could give you, like give you a specific time frame and that's going to work for everyone. Just not the case. Some people it takes longer to get to know them. Sometimes there's some distance involved for a little while. Sometimes there's job situations. There's different levels of amounts of time they spend together. So there's no way I would be able to tell you this is the exact amount of time. But obviously you can see how I react to 5 years, right? So that's too long. So be kind. This is a woman's life. She has a short time frame, especially for her childbearing years. So is that really kind to just take up her years and then you still haven't made a decision? That doesn't sound thoughtful or empathetic in any way, right? Since we aren't married yet, is it a double standard or is it different with men and women? Is there a commitment? Are you guys engaged, Missy? Or are you guys still within your first few months of just talking where you don't know if each other are the one yet? I hope more men tune into your channel as they could really do with these teachings. I get irritated dealing with multiple men. Don't deal with them, vet them. It's not about your feelings, by the way. I don't care if you get irritated dealing with multiple men. What's really irritating is spending time with one man and then finding out in the end that he wasn't the right one, and because you cut off all your other options too early, now you wasted your life. That's really irritating. So take the advice and do it the right way. I would like to get married. I'm not interested in dating anymore. I would like to settle down. What is the time frame of your relationship? How long have you guys been talking? Is he trying to get married to you? Is he proposing to you? Is he about to propose to you? What's happening with him? I haven't met my boyfriends. We've dated 6 months. How do you break codependency when it's been from childhood? Oh, I haven't met my boyfriend's friends. We've dated 6 months. Okay, tell him you want to meet his friends. It's standards. You have needs, right? Hi, I want to meet your friends. If he refuses, then ask yourself, does this meet my standards? Is this the type of person I was looking for when I started dating? If not, then you know what you got to do. How to break codependency when it's been from childhood. You have to find the cognitive distortions that keep you stuck in codependency. So if you have a fear of being alone, then that's a cognitive distortion. You have to ask, why do I fear being alone? Excuse me, to expose the distorted thought. Because I'm going to die if I don't have anyone else. There's your cognitive distortion, and then you got to write down what the proper way of thinking is, have a conversation with yourself as the adult talking to the child, or you can do this in therapy with myself by doing a one-on-one. But then you break that codependency by addressing the core fear. Identify the cognitive distortion. Even when you put a ring on her finger, it's not enough. I made mistakes, but she couldn't accept it. Artie, yeah, putting a ring on her finger doesn't mean she has to accept all your mistakes, bro. It's not a trap. Like, I put a ring on, like you put a hook in her mouth or something. That's not what the point of the ring is. The point of the ring is to say, I'm marrying you. We just need a little time to plan the wedding. That's the point of the ring. It means we're about to get married. That's the point of the ring. It doesn't mean that the relationship is solid and that there's still not time for her to make a different decision or for you to make a different decision. I guess I'm not making myself clear. I'm not talking to anyone else. He is 8 months. It sounds like he's not committed to you, Missy. So that's what you need to establish. Oh, let me see what else. But says it's nothing, just far away, back and forth with someone via text. He seems to have his feelers out, still online for people, not real physical people, just liking pics on FB. Yeah, he's got his feelers out. So what you need to do now, Missy, you told me that you want to get married. So now there needs to be an ultimatum in place. You can't just hang out as the backup chick, right? You've been with him 8 months, so you've had enough time to get to know each other, presumably, as long as you're not long distance. So you know you would like to marry him. Does he know he'd like to marry you? It's a very simple question that you can ask. Do you know whether or not you want to marry me? There's a good question. Just let him know, I want to get married. Here's the time frames I'm thinking. What are the time frames you're thinking? And then now you're moving things in the right direction. If he can't sit here and tell you, here's my time frames, right? And if he can't tell you that he has a sincere intention to get engaged, then you're barking up the wrong tree because you want to be married and he does not. You see? So it's not about focusing on whether or not he's liking someone on Facebook. It's about establishing what your boundaries and standards are in the relationship and enforcing those. So right now, your needs, boundaries or standards is you would like to be married within a reasonable amount of time. So you need to tell him that. Find out where he's at with it. And if you guys can't get on the same page, you have to go. Because you don't want to waste more months until it gets to be years waiting for this guy that you like to come around. Like that one guy who made his now wife wait 5 years. You don't want to do that because you never know what he's going to say after 5 years. Thank you for giving me more information, Richie. Should I be worried about my spouse fantasizing sexually about a female friend that he speaks to on the daily? My spouse. So is he your husband, Richland? Yeah, it's a concern. You should be worried in the sense that it's a concern that you should bring up and that you should talk about. It's definitely a concern. If that's your husband, you should go to him and explain to him your legitimate concerns with him fantasizing about another female. Because it definitely could potentially threaten the sanctity of your marriage. If I'm just assuming that you're married. So yes, you should talk to him. And I'd be curious to hear what his attitude, thoughts, and comments are on it. Is it something he takes responsibility for, something he wants to fix, something he's got under control, something he's willing to go into counseling for if he doesn't have it under control? That's what I would like to see from him. Did we finish the 12 laws yet? Tomorrow will be our last day. What evenings do I go live would be Monday and Wednesday. So what's today? Today's Thursday, right? Or Friday? Well, today's Friday, so we're good. But yeah, Monday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Is it better to find the right person or is it better to fix the problems you have? You are looking for the right person. You are looking for the right person. Your job is not to keep the one you have. Your job is to find the one that's worthy of being kept, worthy of keeping. That doesn't mean that you can't fix problems, but it takes two. So ask yourself, are both of us committed to fixing the problems? Chances are, if both of you are committed to fixing the problems, you wouldn't even have this question. Right? You'd be like, okay, we're both committed to fixing these problems. I'm good to stick in here. You know, you wouldn't have that question. So ask yourself, are we both committed to fixing the problems? If not, then you got to go find the right one. I'd like to book a one-on-one with my ex. You can book a one-on-one with me. I don't know about your ex. I'm not going to meet with both of you guys together. I'm going to meet with just you. Or I can meet with just him. I can meet with you and then meet with him, but not both at the same time. True, engaged in 6 months, married 3, and kids, married 16 years. Wish I vetted better. My goodness. I was asking about the club and bar for a conversation I had with my son. Thanks. Yeah, it's, I mean, I understand the wisdom, like telling your son, like, meeting girls in the club and the bar, blah, blah, blah. But it's really not about where the girl happens to be. It's about the quality of the person. So the vetting process has got to be where he weeds out who's good and who's bad. And that's not necessarily where you happen to meet her. The truth is that a girl could end up just going out with her friends one night. It was a special occasion. And she could be a really good girl and they could meet. You know what I'm saying? So trying to tell them, no, you couldn't possibly meet someone there, you'd be wasting your breath because there's always exceptions. He's still trying to figure me out. What does that mean? SD, sugar daddy? What does SD stand for? What does SD stand for? He's SD still trying to figure me out. What does that mean? Steady trying to figure me out? I don't know what you're trying to say. And what does it mean that he's still trying to... Oh, is this the doctor one? Were you the one with the doctor? He's still trying to figure... What is an SD doctor? Standard doctor? SD. I don't know what she's trying to say. He's still trying to figure me out. Well, how long has it been? Are you within the first few months of the relationship? Because that would make sense. If it's been like a year, then it's kind of like, what's going on, bro? Tell me how long you guys been in the relationship. It's hard to communicate with someone who comes from trauma in a narcissist family. Not necessarily. Maybe it's hard to communicate with them because of their trauma from being from a narcissist family, but you can't generalize. Is it better to find the right person or try to fix the avoidance? Stop repeating your comment, please. Don't copy-paste your comments, guys. He has been alone most of his life. We both aren't the fall in love fast type. You're not answering my question, Missy. What does he want to do? What does he want to do? When you ask him about marriage, what does he have to say about it? What are some boundary standards every man should have when looking for a partner? You have to set your own boundaries and standards, sir. But I would suggest you look for a woman that actually wants to get married. I like to ask, if you found the man, would you want to get married? That's a good question to ask right away, because if they don't want to be married, you're going to waste your time trying to chase after a girl that's not even really trying to settle down with you. So that'd be a good question to ask. But you need to find out about spiritual alignment and other things. You got to ask a lot of questions. So write down your standards on a piece of paper, sir. What do you need? What are your deal breakers? You should be able to come up with 5 deal breakers, put them on a piece of paper. The law today was pause and meditate before acting or speaking. I didn't really believe in true love with him. I want to explore to find that with him. We try. It sounds like you want to get married, so the question is, does he want to get married or not? What is the cost of a one-on-one? $100. After a fight, because he always run away, he discarded me. Should I reach out or keep no contact? If he always runs away and he discarded you, then it's not your job to chase him. So contacting him at this point would be chasing him. Since he does this often, he's done it before, and he's discarded you now, I don't think that you should try to go out of your way to contact him. I don't think that you need to go out of your way to go one way or another. Just focus on your purpose and your self-care and continue to vet other candidates. My ex always jumped to another relationship without healing. Mad adversity, yeah. I don't remember what we were talking about, so I don't know what your question is now. Oh, you were the one who wanted to meet. Yeah, he can meet with me. I do one-on-ones. There's no doing it with him. That's triangulation. You should never do couples therapy. It's not safe or helpful. Ultimately, it's very dangerous. It could be helpful, but it's very dangerous. For me as a counselor, if I have something really serious to say, I can't say it to you in front of him or talk to him as seriously as I would want to in front of you, because I wouldn't want to embarrass, humiliate, or emasculate him in front of you, you understand? And I wouldn't want to do the same to you in front of him, right? So it's like, you need privacy to really work on yourself, because I'm very blunt, and I'm going to tell you about yourself. And I don't want to do that in front of your spouse. He says he's waiting and watching to see how he feels. Missy, how long has it been? Missy, how long has it been? He says he seems like he says he wants to spend a life with someone. I think he's trying to figure it out. How long have you been waiting? How long have you been in this relationship? I told him it wasn't okay with the texting other people. Okay, no couple therapy, got you. I like blunt. Can avoidance really change if you treat them in a nicer manner and stop bringing up every issue? No. Nothing you do is going to make the avoidant change. You're just walking on eggshells. That's all you're doing. Let the avoidant be an unhealed trauma survivor, which is what he is, and you need to move forward. You're not going to make it work with him. He's an avoidant. How are you going to make it work with him? You can't. Work on yourself. Work on vetting other candidates. You can't make it work with an avoidant. He can change. He can grow. But he's not going to, you understand? He's not going to do that because you were nicer to him. What no guy has ever said in the locker room, man, I would be a better man if my girl was just nicer. Like, no, either he's going to be a good guy or he's not. $8 months. Okay, yeah, you did tell me that. Okay, so you've been with him 8 months, and he says he still wants to play the field. So yeah, I think I did already tell you. Give him an ultimatum. Like, tell him now what you want. Maybe, like you said, okay, I came in, I didn't know. We both didn't know. Okay, tell him now what you want. Now you want an exclusive relationship and you need commitment. Tell him now that you want to get married. And now we'll see how he responds to that. My therapist wanted me to do couples therapy. Yeah. It's common in the industry. They make money off of it, but it's not actually going to help you. Especially if you get in there with a narcissist mate. You're going to get hurt badly. I'm an MH nurse student. I discovered I had CPTSD through you. Now I want to be a counselor one day. Awesome. Yeah, you can also become a counselor through my program as well. I'm thankful to you. How to heal from a narcissist. Identify what your symptoms are from being abused by the narcissist. I don't know what your symptoms are. Every person who was with a narcissist doesn't have the same symptoms. He isn't saying he wants to play the field. I caught him texting, called him out. Okay, ultimatum. I felt like in the last comments you said, it felt like he wanted to play the field because he seemed very non-committal in your other comments. Let me see here. You said he seems like he says he wants to spend a life with someone. I think he's trying to figure it out. He says he is waiting and watching to see how he feels. That's playing the field. So waiting and watching to see how he feels. So you say, I want something. He says, well, I'm waiting to see how I feel. Okay. But then his actions are texting other girls or hearting other girls' photos, things like that, right? It's essentially playing the field. Essentially. Even though maybe it's not in the most overt way. Essentially he's saying, I'm still comparing you to other potentials out there. And that's not, you don't have to look at that as like an insult or a bad thing. It's just where he's at, right? So that's where you got to tell him, well, here's what I want. I want to lock down me and you, right? And I'm ready for this. My ex-husband is a narcissist. We tried couples therapy with our pastor. He tried to manipulate the pastor. Yeah, I'm sure you guys got a lot of horror stories about couples therapy and why everyone here should not do that. How long should I keep exposing myself to triggers for it to go away or not bother me anymore? Until the moment you become bored of it. So if I become afraid of water because I had a trauma, I need to sit here with my water and I'm going to feel my nervous system deregulate, and then I'm going to just keep myself calm with self-soothing and breathing until I become bored of it. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not afraid of this water bottle anymore. Set it down, pick it back up, and I've solved it. That could take really just a couple minutes. But it's just until you no longer have that sensitivity to it and you become bored. You have a training program to become a counselor. Yeah, so I have a trauma specialist training program. I don't know if it's available on my site or not right now. You can take a look on my site, see if it's open. If it's not open, I'll go and open it up for you guys. How to deal with, yeah, I think it's open. It's called, right now it's called the Psychotherapy 101 and 201. Psychotherapy 101 and 201. But you need a special membership, which is, how much does the membership cost? I can't remember. It might be $100 a month until you finish. How to go through the withdrawals of leaving a toxic relationship. You need to do your devaluation list. Do your devaluation list. Every time you feel a withdrawal symptom, do your devaluation list. How to deal with a partner who blocks when you tell your feelings. You should walk away, because obviously that's a disqualification. They can't actually be your forever mate if they don't have space for your feelings. Funny, these women aren't at all serious interests, if you know what I mean, without insulting any. No, I like it. I understand that, yeah. He's just liking Facebook stuff. And sounds like you set a boundary already, which is what I would tell you is you just tell him, don't ever do that. I don't like you to do that. And then you get to see how he responds to that boundary. And that's going to be a good indicator for you. I appreciate your platform. Thank you. Our ultimatum's good, ? I've been asked to set a family boundary. Yeah, ultimatums are good. I don't know what you mean, set a family boundary. But yeah, if you use the ultimatum correctly, it's good. Is this the same person? He find I'm attached to my family to a degree he dislikes and will not marry me unless I change. Yeah, so he's giving you the ultimatum. Yeah, he's 100% right. Too much attachment to your family is death to your marriage. So I don't know what your actual level of attachment is, or if he's just trying to isolate you. I can't say, but Too much attachment to your family would be death to your marriage. And if you are highly attached to your family, you should set a boundary or set some boundaries. This person Cupid's asked, what is a devaluation list? Can somebody let her know, please? I've already repeated it like 30 times today. Some people say to stay until you get tired and check out. Otherwise, you'll go back and forth. Yeah, with your trigger, is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about in a relationship? I don't know what you're talking about. Seems like a deflection. I kind of asked them to slow down in the first month because I was afraid. Yeah, and now you're not afraid anymore, so you can go ahead and tell them what you need. It's okay to change your mind. What if it's an environmental trigger and not something you can just sit with? Tell me what it is. Don't just say, give me a description of it. Tell me what it is so I can help you. You give great advice. Just doing my job. What's your take on husbands presenting single online, harding women and DMing them? What can I do? Tell them what you don't like about it. Tell them that you don't like it. Set a boundary. What's the website? healingcourse.org. My avoidant reached out. He's terminally ill. Should I support him? I don't want to be with him. No. If you don't want to be with him, then you need to withhold your resources. Your care and support is a part of your resources. Right? As a woman, your support is your resource. That's the special thing that you provide to a man. So no, you should not support him if you don't want to be with him. I do want to have a one-on-one. I want to focus on myself more. Yeah, healingcourse.org. Go there, set up the one-on-one session. I'm staring at my calendar, waiting for you to pop up. I'm waiting. Go on, get it set up. If you have to check in with your family before you make a decision of any kind, that's too much. Oh my God. Man, are you correct? That is very much correct. Disturbing. Apologies, I'm working and going back and forth to your podcast. Okay, I don't know what I need to do for you. Devaluation list, 8 things, 7 reasons why they don't qualify, or 8 things, reasons why they don't qualify, basically what you don't like about them. Very good, thank you. What do you think about men who are too sexual in early dating? Just set boundaries, and then you see what they really are. Sometimes it's just a good guy making a mistake, and your boundaries, he'll respect it. If it's a bad guy, then he'll set a boundary and he'll run away. So just set boundaries. Just be like, no, I'm waiting till marriage. That's a boundary. Good guys will stick around. Bad guys run away. How do I get myself to do the thing? I am frozen anxious, and when I start doing the thing, I get overwhelmed. Are you talking about sex? Because you had sexual trauma? Is that what you're talking about? I don't have an ADHD diagnosis, but I have all the symptoms. Not sex. Well, what's the thing? See, I would have sat there and gave you all this advice for getting over sexual trauma, and that's not even what it is. What's the thing that you don't want to do? I'm glad I asked. This is why we got to ask questions. I would have been sitting here like, it's very serious when we've had sexual trauma in our life. They will call boundaries and rules and completely ghosted you. Definitely stay away from those. I mean, if they ghost you, you don't have to stay away from them because they ghost you. Set up your boundaries and your rules and let the runners run. Let them run. Oh yeah, that's the let them theory. I was thinking about that the other night. My friend texted me. She was watching the live. She said, she said she was laughing when you guys were talking to me about the let them theory. Oh my God, I was thinking about how ridiculous that was, the let them theory. We just make up a rule for an obvious thing and then call it a thing. Like, this is the let them theory. That's where you let people do whatever they're going to do. What else are you supposed to do? You can't do anything about it. You can't stop them. A creative project, sitting in place and completing my finances paperwork. Okay, cool. So this is the ADHD thing that you're dealing with. Don't wait for motivation. Create momentum. You create momentum by taking things in very small, little tiny increments, and you fool yourself. You can negotiate with yourself by saying, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do this. So for instance, your finances paperwork. You say, okay, I'm not going to do my finances paperwork. I'm just going to get the paperwork out. If it's on a computer, I'm going to pull up the program and have it on my screen. I'm not going to do it. Then once you get it up, you go, I'm just going to get the pen. Just set the pen here. I'm not going to do the finances. I'm just going to get the pen. I'm just going to get the cursor going here on the page. I'm just going to look at this first question, and then that's it. Then I'm done. You understand? And what happens is once you do something very small for it, you create momentum, and then you get your motivation. Motivation comes from momentum. Same thing with your creative project. Just give yourself a small step that you're going to do and tell yourself you're not going to start the whole project. You're just going to do the small step. The reason why you're having trouble getting it started is your perfectionism. It's not your ADHD. It's your perfectionism. Good guys stick around, bad guys run away. Yeah, if you set your boundaries. Go ahead, tell the guys, I want to wait until I'm married before we have sex. And you will see just what you're dealing with. When I have someone parallel to me, I can start and get in the flow. Yeah, which goes to show that it's all just mental. So you just got to give yourself other mental tricks. Hi, my name is Yvonne. My husband cheated on me. I think he's doing it again. He's always yelling and didn't finish. If your husband cheated on you and you don't want to be in a relationship with someone that cheats on you, then you should leave him. That's you got grounds for divorce. Go on, break it on off. Break him off. He's done. He doesn't respect the marriage.